Hi everybody, in this video we're going to be changing the handbrake mechanism on this Mk3 Mondeo 2000 to 2007. This is an estate version. Here it is. Right, okay then, the Mondeo's been through its MOT and it failed on the things that I knew it was going to fail on, the handbrake ratchet being one of them. What was happening was when you pull the handbrake up, the last 3 or 4 notches or 2 or 3 notches would slip back down, so there's obviously a problem with the actual ratchet mechanism, and that involves obviously taking this thing out. Now, to do this, I've actually taken it out already. This is a second-hand one I bought off of eBay. There is actually 2 types, and you won't really know until you actually get the mechanism off. And to do that, you'd need to take off the center console, which I'll show you about in a minute. But there's a manual type and there's an automatic type. So this type is the manual type, and if I can just show you it, what you basically got is the ratchet mechanism which sits in the car like that, and as you can see there's a cable that goes through a little eye there around a little curve. This goes through the floor, and this actual adjuster mechanism is situated under the floor, under the central tunnel, and the 2 handbrake cables, as you can probably see, clip into there and go to the back wheels. The adjusting nut is here, so this undoes and tightens up, and in turn creates either higher or lower leverage on the actual lever. So that's how you adjust it. The automatic one of these has got a big bolt-on piece on the side of it where it automatically adjusts, so, and there's no adjuster wheel down here. But this is the manual one, so I'll show you what I've done to actually get this out at the moment. Right, we're inside the car now, as you can see, and it looks like we've taken quite a lot of stuff out, but realistically to get this lot out is pretty simple. Let me show you what I've actually done. First of all, you've got this panel to take out, and you've got one exactly the same on the other side, and all you do there is remove the Phillips screwdriver from there, and you basically just sort of pull this, and this whole thing comes on. As you can see, it's sitting on little spring lugs there, and that will pop straight out, and that goes exactly the same for the other side with the same screw in the same place. So basically, once you've done that, you've then got to remove this part, which is already out here, as you can see. And how you do that, at the front there, as you can see, you've got another screw there. You've got one the other side as well, that needs to come out. You need to take out your cup holder and whatever, and there's a screw which sits right under your cup holder there, and then towards the back of the car, under the flappy thing, as you can probably see, there's a little mat in the bottom of that. You take the little mat out, and you can see another 3 screws. Once you've removed them 3 screws, you can't actually, don't forget the handbrake levers coming through here, you can't actually lift this out until you've disconnected the cable underneath, because you need to be able to pull the handbrake right up in the air like that, so that that cowling will slide off over the top. Basically what you need to do then is to go underneath, because also, apart from disconnecting the cable there, as you can see, you've also got 3 fixings, which is 1, 2, 3, which also bolt there, and as you can see there, through the floor, and that is literally above the exhaust pipe. There may be a cover or cowling over, which you'll need to take out. I didn't have to do that because someone's obviously pulled that cowling off before, but I'll go underneath now and show you what you're looking at underneath to locate the adjusters. Right, now what I've done here, I've actually just jacked the car up one side and put the jack under the subframe there on the front of the car there, and I've just left the trolley jack underneath as a temporary support just in case. Now I'm laying on gravel here, but I mean I could have taken the car a bit higher and made this job a whole lot easier, but I've not done that, so let's go underneath. Now I don't know whether you can also see there, for the MOT I've had a brand new exhaust put on all the way through the car as well, right up to the front there. As you can probably see, I've pulled this cover down there, but you don't need to pull that one down, that's the one at the front. Right, there's the 2 cables disconnected there, as you can see, which run to the back of the car. And if I just sneak down the side of this exhaust, there's the main central box there, as you can see. You may just be able to see the 3 bolt positions there for to fix the actual unit in. So basically you have to undo that winder to separate these 2 cables before you can lift that handbrake up inside to take the center console out. Once you've done that, then you can lift the centre console out. So I'm at the situation now where we're putting this thing back together now. So what I'm going to do is just go inside the car, drop the handbrake in place, push the cable adjuster through the hole in the floor there, and then we'll pop back underneath and connect the cables up. Right, so here we are inside the car, and I've got to try and get this unit back in. So I'm going to poke that through the hole, the adjuster. Easier said than done. There we go, just poke that through, drop it back through, and get this gasket back in place. Oh, easier said than done. Can I lift that right up, or does that work that way around? Right, okay. And what you've also got on the side of this is a little cable, as you can probably see there. That's for the handbrake on and off switch. Make sure you put that back on. Right, okay, so that's that back on. So again, that just drops into the hole there. So as you can see, I've put that back, grommet back in. And I've got this in place now, and I've got to just bolt that in now from underneath. You may need to put some weight on there if you're on your own, or get someone to hold it for you. So this is also a plate that needs to go on underneath, and then you put the nuts on afterwards. Right, now again, I don't know how much of this you're going to be able to see, but I'm going to try and manhandle this on my own. If the car was higher up and obviously the exhaust was off, it would be so much easier, but that's not the situation here. So I've got to try and make do with what I've got. So I've got to get this plate in first, and one of these nuts on, hopefully. Very, very awkward. But as I say, if the car was up in the air, it'd be a whole lot easier. As I say, if you've got the car high enough, you should be okay. So I'm just going to do this up now, so this is secure. And it's best done with a 13mm spanner. And I'm just going to tighten these screws up, these bolts up now, that hold the handbrake in. Right, now I don't know whether you can see that properly, but this is how I'm doing it up. By sliding one hand up the side of here and coming in from the front of the car exhaust centre box, and just sort of tightening it up this way. There we go. And the final one. And I've also got Sharon on the top holding the handbrake in place, because there's a bit of play either side, so we're just keeping it central. As you can see, it's quite awkward, but it's highly possible once you come in from the right angle. And that's it. Right, okay, that's that. So as you can probably see now, that's the handbrake bracket. Let's move you back a bit. Right, so what I need to do now is to just hook them back in. Is the handbrake off, Sharon?
Yeah.
It's right down, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, if the handbrake's off, that should then just clip into there. Like that, there's one. There's one on the other side. And clip that one into there. Like that. Oh, and there we go. So that's back in now. And it's just a matter of now holding back on this while you tighten this centre nut up to get the adjustment on the handbrake. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do now. And this nut is, I think it's a 16mm, and I managed to do it with an adjustable socket, so you might have to hold this back and keep that still while you turn it, because this is quite a tight nut on there. So I'm going to do that now. Right, as you can see, I've nearly tightened this up now. It's not fully there, but I've just remembered I need the handbrake up in the air so that I can slide the centre console on. So I'm just going to have to get up now, otherwise I've got to undo that adjuster and slacken it right off again, which is a right blinking nuisance. Let me go and see if I can drop the centre console over. Right, now I'm hoping I can pull this up high enough, and I bet I can't. No, I can't, can I? But it's nice to see that the handbrake ratchet's working alright. So now I've got to slacken that right off underneath so that I can lift the handbrake high in the air to drop the centre console over the top. Bugger! I'll see you when I've done that. That's also the wires there for the cigarette lighter or cigar lighter, so don't forget that as well. So we need to basically pull the handbrake up as high as it can go, and then it will be able to slide over there. As you can see, we've done it this time. There we go. There we go, so we're back in place. Now we'll drop it back down again now. And now start to tighten up the adjuster again from underneath. So now let's go and do that, hopefully for the last time. Right, okay, so let's try and get this nut done up now so that we can now finally adjust the handbrake. I'm going to leave it at that and try the handbrake and see how much it pulls up. It feels like it's okay at the moment, so let's have a little go. That feels alright. Yep, that feels lovely. Right, okay then, so we've done that now. The handbrake's adjusted up nicely and I'm happy with that. Now you might have a cover that goes over the top here, pretty much like this one at the front. Let me show you the one at the front, because I took this one down by mistake, thinking that the handbrake adjuster was under here. So let me show you the front cover, and you may have to remove this on this part because this one hasn't got it on. Now I don't know whether you can see there that this, I've dropped it down, this one, but this basically clips up there via these little clips here, and they should have some sort of washer over the top of them, I presume, but because I've pulled this one down, I'm going to have to relocate this now. As you can probably see, this front one, or just putting some sort of clip over there or something all the way along. So that's another job I've gave myself, but it'll be this sort of cover that will probably be over this here, because you can see there's the clips for it here, look here, and someone's actually removed it before, see, look over that side as well. So you may have that cover just to pull down and to remove to gain access to the handbrake adjuster. Right, I've just replaced this cowling up here now, as you can probably see, and what I've done to fasten it back was use some big washers and some little sort of C circlips there, as you can see, just to hold that on, because I didn't have the correct fasteners. That's going to hold it, but just as a safeguard, what I'm going to do is also get a hot glue gun and just put a dab of hot glue around there so that the circlips don't actually fall off. So I'm going to just show you what I mean when I do that. This should be hot enough by now, I'd have thought. Yep, there we go. There we go. And that's all I'm going to do, and that will hold that on definitely. So I'm just going to go around now and do the rest of it, and I'll show you, and I'll see you at the end. Right, okay then, so I've got a long extension here, and we'll just do these 8mm up in here. We've got one little countersink screw that goes under the cup holder. That one there. Don't forget, these are the wires for the cigarette holder, which we'll put in a minute. We've got this little one that holds the side of the column in. And this is a little piece of foam that goes in the bottom of the glove box or CD box, whatever you want to call it, down there. Here's the cigarette holder, the cup holder rather, and the cigarette lighter, which, as you know, sits in there, and nothing holds that in apart from just plugging this on. So that's all we're going to do there. Can only go on one way. that, and then that just drops in like that, as you can see, nice and simple. Right, now the gear knob by the centre console here, as you can probably see, this slides on next, but as you can see there from the underside, it's got two clips that have to locate. There's a little slot there, as you can see, and that slot goes over a little raised bit there, so that goes on that way round. Now you can see these little lugs here, they're supposed to clip on to this little thing here, but half of them snapped off when I took them out. You have to squeeze them in and then pull this basically thing off. So I'm going to just put some hot glue on that just to make sure that that don't come off again when I actually locate. See, it should go on like that, and the pin on the other side is gone on now. Just put the one on the other side as well, but I'm going to dab this with hot glue just to make sure they don't come off, because they've actually broke. There we go. Right, let that go off. Give that a few minutes. Just let that go off for a few minutes, and then we'll put this cover back on. Right, okay, so that's dried off now, so we can now just put this back on in position. There we go, like that. That goes in there like that, and then the knob just spins on until we get it around the right way. There we go, like that. One more. There we go. So we go. Right, so we just slide this back into position under here. Put the clips in the hole. They just punch in. There we go. And then that screw, and just screw that back in there like that. There we go. That's that one. And as you can see, it's all clipped back in. That just pushes back in place like that. Put that final screw back in this side again, which is a Phillips screw, and again I put that front screw back in there so I didn't lose it. Again, rough location. Push it in place. Put that screw back in there. There we go. That's tightened up. Around the top there, that just goes back into place like that. There we go. And that's it. All done. Just drop that back in there properly. Look. There we go. That's it. And there you go. Centre console all back in. All nice and solid. Handbrake works perfectly now. And that's one job nearer to the MOT. Well, I hope that video was of some use to you if you need to change your handbrake or even adjust your handbrake on a Mondeo if it's coming up too high. Anyway, I'll see you again in the next video. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.